Back at it. I'm having an enjoyable freelance creative week off of my day job and playing the role of a full-time content producer. So give me a second here to check my signal. Producer. Okay, so I'm excited to be here. I do this every year during my birthday and during the winter holidays. If you follow me on Discord, or if you follow me on Twitter, I've just posted that I am live on Twitter. And we are going to continue development of the upscaling mechanics that we had worked on Saturday. That's right. We were working on stuff on Saturday, and now we just want to finish that work up. So that's what we're going to do here. And then after that, we're going to do some more Light of Xeraxis, the Citadel of Light cartography. So we'll start with some mechanical work, and then we'll end with more cartography. And I will be back tomorrow morning with more Eberron content production. We're working on the cemetery map there. And 1 second. No. Delete. There we go. Double posted there on accident. Yeah, I'm just kicking through the Discord channels I like to hang out at. Just posting that I'm up and running. But yeah, we're off all week. So I will be on tomorrow morning for Eberron and tomorrow afternoon. Not sure what I'm going to do this afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon. Maybe more Eberron. Not 100%. But yeah, so I've now updated all my Discords. If you aren't familiar with my channel, I create PDFs that I publish on the DMsGuild. You can check the link down below to see a sample of DMsGuild work that I have done in the past. It's a bundle of like 6 books or something like that. It's 36% off, but you can read them all cover to cover. The entire book. You can run a 1 to 20 level campaign with any of those, like in that example, it's mana mechanics. I think I also have Pacts Patrons for different types of Ravnica, Warlock patrons. I think that's down in the link down below as well. But I've done a lot of different sorts of projects. But when I publish them, they're always 100% preview, so you can read the entire thing to see if you love it or not. And people buy them. I mean, it's just trust in the people, man. Let them see what you're trying to do for them, and if it has any value, then they will buy it. I would rather you read the entire thing and decide it's not for you than for me to give you 10 pages of a 100-page document and have you buy it, not like it, and then give me a shitty review because if you had known better, you wouldn't have bought it. This way, you're going to be able to see the whole thing. You know everything that's coming your way. You know what to expect with it. And I have all this interaction so that you guys can engage with the product. This is the cover that we built for the Spelljammer Combat Exploration book. It's in this the playlist that we're building here for Spelljammer. I think it's back like around episode 12. I want to say like maybe it was about 10 hours worth of production that we put into it here on stream, as well as like maybe 30 hours that we put in off stream. It was a bear to get it done, but I still love it. So I'm really proud. It's going to be on the book cover. I think that's going to be like something people are going to want to look like. I like this negative space, how it looks like a hawk. If you can see that, like the wings dipping down, and like that feels like a head. And then its tail fans out again, but it's got the claw you can see hinted at here, like the negative space of it, the dark space, as opposed to the light of the Spelljammer and the light of the Star Moth wings. Anyway, I'm just looking at space today, and that's probably a good thing because we're going to continue working on the upcasting mechanics that we had talked about last stream, which was on Saturday. I think it's episode 39. You can see it prior to this one. So we had began and got through the first chapter, or our first level, of specifically interesting spells worth mentioning, as well as all the basic mechanics of what upscaling is. To like the 50-foot square, then the 500-foot square, and what kind of an impact that has, like on small crafts that fit inside of 50-foot spaces, versus like Spelljammer vessels, which fit within a 500-foot space. So the upscaling of these spells to be able to, like, instead of just you being invisible, the ship that you're piloting is now invisible. It still channels through you into the energy of the ship, but you put extra spell slots into it to pay for the magnification of the spell power. So you got a helm, an orrery, or an arcane cannon. All three of those amplifiers can be used to upscale spells to anything that you can see or be able to target through a wild space orrery. So you can use that as a scanner system, and as long as you're still within the upscaled range, you can still target things that far away using, again, the specific interaction mechanics for like damage and targeting creatures, and like pilot versus ship, and crew aboard ship versus anyway, and squadrons and all that crap. It's all in here. And then we went through the process of converting the different spells, and I did a lot of them off screen when I was just couch surfing this weekend during the holiday, which was glorious, by the way. I had a great holiday. I hope you did too. But the only section we have left is fifth level. So seeming, scrying, holy weapon creation, create spell, jammer helm, Bigby's hand, banishing smite, awaken, and animate object are the only spells that need to be defined at this point before I hand it back off to my editor, Adam Hancock, to continue the mission. So this is a 97-page document, and so this is the next point of contention about me providing more specific details about what I wanted these spells to be able to do, so that he'd be able to translate it into Watsese. So whatever language the hell that is that they try to write in. Natural language Watsese. So it's page 47 of 97, and the last back 20 pages of this thing, like page 77 and 97, is comments on Light of Xeraxis. Like, now that you have these 77 pages worth of spell jamming, wild space, and astral sea mechanics to flesh out those little bits and pieces spanning the bridge from 2nd to 5th edition with a more modernized taste that corresponds to what WotC is attempting to express with Spelljammer, but didn't provide the hard mechanics to do so. Now that we have all those tools here, the back 20 pages of the appendix, Appendix 2, is using these rules to convert all the combat exploration encounters that you have in Light of Xeraxis, using these mechanics, so that you can pick up the book, and if you want to play Light of Xeraxis, you can immediately start using these tools, and we explain to you how to use these tools at the back end of the book. So once we get past this 5th level spell translation, which we'll get to here in a minute using D&D Beyond. Just going to fish D&D Beyond out so that we can do searches for the specific spells that we're looking for. Then we'll be able to push down and proceed. Starting up on page 48, Adam will be able to continue resolving the mechanics for exploration. And here's some of the goodies that you can see in this. Scaling distances in wild space, looking at the different movement per round that you can make, or how different scales of objects in space are engaged with on the content. The traversing times, like in a day you can do 100 million miles according to WotC. So here's how that breaks down into different time implements. And then when you're encountering smaller objects using a wild space aura, you can pick up pings as a scanner on things that are interacting. So here's different size crafts that have different maximum sizes that you can see with an orrery at different ranges, and then you can encounter them on a map at these different scales. And the detailed maps is like when you can like get specific information, like what's that emblem on his shirt say, that kind of stuff. That's how close you need to be to a human to like read his to read what his lapel says. Like, oh yeah, that's Vernon. Hey man, how you doing? You need to be within 50 feet to do that kind of thing, you know. So there's these different ranges that we have for visibility, and then using those scales of visibility, we can see how you can interact at different scale grids at the same time. What happens if you drift past something and you don't specifically notice it? There's void tracking, which is there's something out there. You just got to get your orrery within range for you to be able to actually attempt to track them. So like rangers can track favorite enemies through wild space and through the astral sea by using an orrery scanner to try to pick up on their enemy's vibe and then use their intuition or their perception of how stars are moving to get a feel for where their enemy is at. All this shit is in here, but this is all, it's just grindy details, and the scales that we work with are so massive in Spelljammer in general. I don't blame Wizards for not tackling these different mechanics. Here's travel times in the Astral Sea, given your familiarity with the location. It talks about tracking through the astral color pools, how you can interact with them, entering wild space, like specifically given your familiarity with the destination within wild spaces. Where's the astral sea going to actually dump you out into that wild sphere? There's no crystal sphere anymore, so it's not like you poke through an egg and now you're inside of the sphere. It's the astral. It's the stuff of teleportation and plane shift. So when you shift out of the astral sea, you'll land in the wild sphere someplace related to how well you roll and your familiarity with it. Kind of like just basic teleporting. You're teleporting into this wild space system from the astral sea, essentially. So when it's not like a set point, it just kind of drifts in, and your familiarity with your destination is how far that little thread of the astral sea can feed into the wild space system to deposit you someplace nearby, hopefully. Or if you roll like crap, then it's going to be the opposite side of the sphere, and now you got some traveling to do. Just depends on how you shake it out with the DM. So you got all the mapping distances and scaling systems using a grid system so that you can interact on a hex crawl style. Since you can see objects this far away on Orrery, but you got to get much closer to the inner system to see smaller things like moons picking up off of planets. And then we were talking about like how quickly. I mean, this map isn't done yet, but you get the gist of it about how far away Saloon is from Toril and how long it takes to travel around it 30 days. So it gives an idea of how many miles each square at the scale is, which is 50,000 miles per square. So we can build a system map that uses real-time math, and you have one scale for moving planets around a central star, which is a year, and then how many squares, like there's 9 squares to get around the sun in a year. So that's roughly 40 days per square that you're traversing around in a circle. So that's roughly every month. It's got to move another square a little bit more occasionally. So it's liquidy, man. It's super smooth. It makes tracking systems super easy. When you're scaling per day, you can just move them around. Like this is per week, you move them from square to square. This is Turil's central system. Here's your different massive objects and how many hit points massive object has given the type of material it is, light, heavy, or ultra dense material. And we define all that stuff. When objects collide, like if you slam a moon into a planet, how much damage is that going to deal to the planet? So we have that scaling system here, so you can have like in the Expanse, you're going to drop asteroids on a planet to decimate a city. You got to kind of know how much damage that's going to do to figure out how large of an area it's going to take out. So here's all the math that goes into that. Spherical gravity, how that breaks down, minimum sizes necessary to have a sphere in the first place, as opposed to a gravity plane, and then how do rings around planets work with gravity fields. And then we have ship hazards like fouling air and fires, infestations. It's all different types of skill tests that you can do. All this shit's in here. And again, once this publishes on the DM's Guild, you can just read it all cover to cover. It's like, oh yeah, if this is a supplement that's useful, buy it. Because when you buy it, you'll get a zip file full of all the assets that we're building to use for Light as Araxis and all the maps, all the tokens that we're painting here on stream. So when you publish the book, it's like here's all the stuff that we built in this book for you to look at. Here's 120 hours of book production. Like this is all the stuff that went into the book, and we're asking like say $15 for the book. That's like basically we're asking for $1 per 10 hours of production cycle we have on stream here for you. So if you think this book is worth a dime an hour, please buy it. That's literally how this all breaks down. So So let's get back to work. I'm gonna check my phone here real quick. See what my gal's got going on. If something. Nice. All right, we're gonna set a timer for 20 minutes, just to keep us pacing through the day. Bam. All right, cool. So let's get back up into the spellcasting section. I think the next one we're gonna look at is seeming. I'm not positive. Hold on real quick. Let's go look. Love this book, man. I am so excited about these mechanics. There's so much fun stuff that you can do with it. Just super fun. Super, super fun systems. Seeming, that is where we are at. So let's type in the search for seeming. 8-hour duration. A spell allows you to change the appearance of any number of creatures that you can see within range. The range is 30 feet. You give each target you choose a new illusory appearance. Okay, so this will be simple. It has its own duration, so you don't have to worry about that. Seeming bold, thank you. Amplifying this spell to target ships. Physical appearance is being, as well as clothing, armor, and equipment. You can make each creature seem 1 foot shorter or larger, taller, fatter, or smaller. You can't change a target's body type, so you must choose a form that has the same basic arrangement. The change wrought by the spell. You fail to hold up to physical inspection. For example, if you use this spell to add a hat. Okay, great. We want to use, I believe we want to use alter form is the basic of this, except it's just oh no, it's disguise self. There you go. Amplifying this spell to target a ship can there we go. That is the proper language. Ooh. It's a long duration, so we don't have to worry about maintaining focus. It's a fire and forget spell. Where was it? Come back here, you little bugger. Thank you. That nagget. Something went wrong. Let's try that again. Thank you. Amplifying this spell can change the appearance of any ships within range, and continually reduce its size by 1 space. Yeah, that was easy enough. Amplifying the spell can change the appearance of any ships within range that can seemingly change its size by 1 space. For example, a hammerhead ship occupying a 5x5 space can appear as a 4x4 storm off or a truly massive 6x6 vessel. The illusion can be scrutinized when viewing with the naked eye. That's all I want to say. Vessel. The illusion is convincing. The illusion cannot be revealed through orrery scanning, but the illusion can be scrutinized when viewing with the naked eye. There we go. Ozzy, hey man, good to see you. We're going backwards through the 5th level spell list for upscaling spells. So let's look at scrying. So the initial words that we had here, which is why it's insufficient, we have to add more text to all of these. So scrying, concentration spell, that's what the letter C is supposed to mean. Scrying is an augur casts scrying through an orrery. The target rolls its wisdom saving throw at disadvantage. Let's see if that still makes sense when we go into D&D Beyond to look at the scrying spell and see how much of that is still relevant now that we've gone through the translation of the document up to this point. So let's see, you can see and hear a particular creature you choose that is on the same plane of existence as you. The target must make a wisdom saving throw, which is modified by how well you know the target and the sort of physical connection you have to it. If a target knows you're casting this spell, it can fail the saving throw voluntarily if it wants to be observed. And on a successful save, the target is unaffected, and you can't use this spell again. On a failed save, the target is invisible. Instead, okay. So actually, the only comments that we actually need about scrying in actuality is scrying is limited to the astral when scrying while scrying within a crystal sphere, the limits scrying can only target locations can only choose targets or locations within the same crystal sphere or within the astral sea if traveling between systems. There, that's legit. Let's go to Holy Weapon and see what that has to say. See, this is pretty easy, but like these are just like little nitpicky things that's like pointing that out is helpful. So Holy Weapon, what does our current word say about it? It's concentration based. The siege weapon is a magical weapon. It deals plus 2d8 times 10 radiant damage with the bonus action effect. Doesn't benefit from upcasting. So that's some of that's still relevant. How can you fail Holy Weapons? It was your suggestion. Oh, the anger. Is it called Holy Weapon? I could swear it is. Thank you. Freaking gods have gone mad. There we am. Okay, concentration, 1 hour. So, it is an upcasting spell, or upscaling, so that will be a focused spell effect, because you focus through the spell amplifier that you're using on your ship to be able to upscale spells at all. You can't just do it. Although there is a strong argument for various folks that have played with different artificer ideas, that being able to, instead of creating a turret as a artillerist could, it could just be, you could instead have an amplifier artificer, an amplifying artificer that instead of creating turrets would create ballista machinery and a spell amplifying device so that you could upscale while you're running around, because it'd still have to be a large sized object that you'd be creating, so it would have a little bit of limitations of where it would be applicable. If you're in an overland adventure, like if you're going across the land, if characters can pick up a craft or a vessel, they're going to be able to move quickly and engage in siege combat anyway, so having access to an arcane amplifier or a spell amplifier while in overland movement isn't much of a problem. It's when you're actually down in a dungeon that is the difficulty of bringing siege weapons down into dungeon environments if they are only of medium size. Like, you want to make this you want to make these things that deal bigger damage to be physically bigger. At least large, like a trebuchet does D8 times 10 damage, and it's huge. So it's really, unless you're fighting giants in their home castle, it's kind of hard to lug a trebuchet down into a dungeon. So that keeps that scale of damage out of your character's hands where it's inappropriate. Too many supplements offering ideas of like siege weapon pets that are allowing them to traverse the same spaces as the characters can, and that is the logistics of getting that huge machinery into position to attack things is what helps keep shit in scale, so that you're continuing to use these large weapons against large targets. And again, the supplement is built to provide you scaling mechanics from 5 feet 50 to 500 to 1 mile to 1,000,000 miles, how to scale up the damage that you can do, or how many hit points something is going to have, so you can strategize things like throwing asteroids that are 1,000 miles across at a planet to take out the illithid threat that's invading your system. Like, that's some chess stuff there, but you got to know your math, so we give you that math. Anyway, that's the ideas behind that stuff. So holy weapon, we're looking at the radiant damage. Yeah. You imbue a weapon you touch with holy power until the spell ends the weapon. Okay, great. So, holy weapon focused. Let's see. Amplifying this spell with 1 slot to target a siege weapon. Grants a increase. Let's see. Weapon. How's it worded? Amplifying this spell with 1 slot to target a siege weapon. Causes it to become magic. Become a magic weapon and deal an extra 2d8 times 10 radiant damage on a hit, period. This, by the way, is why the OGL is actually a useful document to have, because I can just cut paste content word for word as I need to modify it off of any code that I can find on D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond, for creators, D&D Beyond is a super helpful resource, because it's just a tab flip away from knowing how is I supposed to word the coding on this new effect that doesn't exist inside of WotC right now. We do it by stealing pieces of code from existing content that's the same context as what we're creating new mechanics for. So we can effectively upscale the spell to times 10 damage when we're spending an additional spell slot to do so, and we know that is going to make the siege weapon become magic if it isn't already, and deal an extra d8 times 10 radiant damage on a hit. I can just parse out that language word for word. There you go. As a bonus action on a turn, you can dismiss a spell and cause the weapon to emit a burst of radiance. Each creature of your choice, you can see within 30 feet of the weapon, must make a Constitution saving throw. On a fail, a creature takes 48. I'm going to dismissing this spell to create a burst of radiance. Targets creatures with a saving throw, so deals 48 radiant damage as listed, which can also damage ships within range. If it does, a ship's pilot taking this damage for the ship has no siege multiplier to remove, and so takes damage at a ratio of 1 to 1. I don't know if that's all necessary or not. I'm sure Adam will yell at me or not, but I'm just being thorough in my explanation. Siege damage can be reduced by 10. So if you get hit by a mangonel rock for d6 times 10 damage, or your ship just took 50 damage. Star Moths are 200-foot long ships, and they have 400 hit points. Hammerhead ships are 250 feet long and have 500 hit points. When a pilot is focused and attuned on the helm that's piloting the ship, instead of the ship taking damage, the pilot can take the damage as a sort of willpower, grit translation of what your hit points are. Instead of literally, you can literally bleed if you want to. It's your narration. But the mechanics of it are as though it were a ward spell, like ward ally spell, where that enemy gets hit, you take the damage for them instead. It already exists inside of the game. We're just creating this ward system to affect the ship while you're piloting it. But when you take siege damage, you aren't going to take 50 damage from that mangonel shot. You're going to scale down the damage to the size of the ship as though you were a person. So instead of 50 damage, that rock does 5 damage. Like you got hit by a sling stone. It's the same thing. As far as the ship is concerned, it's the same thing. That ship can take maybe 5 or 10 hits like that, but you're eventually going to knock out a guy if you hit him with 5 or 10 sling stones. He's going to drop. That's just kind of how the game works. So those mechanics stay in focus with each other. But siege damage is that rock effect. But this is a 5th level spell that we're talking about. And when you scale it up to the 300-foot area instead of 30 foot, it's going to do 48 radiant damage to everything in that area. And since ships are considered creatures with this system, the ship is going to take, say, 20 points of radiant damage. When the pilot takes that damage, he's not going to take 2 damage. This isn't siege damage. That's 20 damage the pilot is going to take. And if this is just a random NPC that has 15, 20 hit points, he's going to have to let the ship eat the damage. And that's how you can whittle down ships as a player. As players are fighting enemy ships, you can knock these things down faster than your ship will go down, because if they don't have any hit points to buttress and shield the ship, it's going to get torn apart by your siege weapons pretty quickly. If you have a full team that's banging all together as a unit, with melee weapons off your ram, and you got 2 or 3 siege weapons, and you got an amplifier or somebody on an orrery doing support rolls, so you're gaining advantages and you're shielding damage and stuff, then you're going to be able to tear other ships of the same size apart. It's the boss fights where you're fighting things that have larger hit point pools than the characters as like a raid and in-boss challenge. That's when you're going to have problems. because he's just going to be able to eat up all that damage coming from your siege weapons into his hit point shield. And like Zariel's a great example of this. Her flying blade only has 500 hit points, but she has 176 hit points. So when your trebuchet hits her ship for 70 damage out of 500, that's a lot of hit points. 70 out of, she can only take so many of those. But when she absorbs that siege damage, she out of her 176 only took 7 points of damage. So she's like, I can do this shit all day. And blop, I just healed myself, so all of my hit points are back. The team has to find a way to to crack through that shield so that the damage that they're doing to their enemy has meaning. And the DM can control the threat levels of different ships by how many hit points he gives the commander. If the commanders are low-rank creatures, Skrull, goblins, just normal elves and stuff, then basically the number of hit points the ship has is all the ship has. It's when you start looking at like, well, this is a mammoth ship and it's being commanded by Kroll, the black-eyed ogre mage lord. That, you know, he's a CR8 creature. He has 110 hit points. Now that mammoth ship that would normally have 500 hit points, it now has effectively an extra 1,000 stacked on top of it because of Kroll. So that is a huge boss fight. If Kroll's around, that mammoth is not going to go down unless your team is really smart about what kind of spells they're using against it that can't be reduced by Kroll. So you can whittle Kroll down too, and you can get rid of his ability to shield his ship that way. Or you zoom in close for dogfighting, you jump off ship, and now you're doing your dungeon crawl through the ship like Wizards of the Coast kind of assumes that's how you're going to do it. But we give you that option, but you can be peppering the ship with damage from siege weapons while you have the rest of your team doing a small, we're all working on the same round, so you can have your small team navigating through the tunnels looking for people to disable their ability to fire back at you so that your commando team on deck is eliminating siege weapons while your ship is in a dogfight with the mammoth. And it's the mammoth is slowly, why are our ballistas down? What's going on? It's because you're going through and you're assassinating the siege commanders and the siege crews that are commanding those weapons. So while you're engaging in ship-to-ship combat, like at 50, 100 feet away from each other, well within siege fire weapons, you're eliminating all the siege weapons, and once it's out of all of its weapons, then the rest of your team can come in, and all of the crew can board and swarm the enemy decks, take control of the ship, and then you have your one-on-one boss standoff against Kroll. And he's an ogre mage, so he's got all his tricks. He made gaseous form to escape into wild space and just disappear into the night. I mean, that's something that could happen. He probably has a plan. He's a crafty warrior. So, but that's the kind of stuff that I want people to be. That's the stuff that I imagine happening in Spelljammer campaign. So all these mechanics are there to do that stuff. So anyway, that was all about Holy Weapon there. So let's keep moving. Yeah, I'm doing good. Creation. So this is creation. Spell. What do I have listed about creation so far? Each level of spell slot spent to upcast the spell, you create one 50-foot square. A 9th level spell slot can create a 200-foot long ship. Oh, well, yeah. I kind of like how this sounds already. I bet I have mechanics that are similar to this using Fabricate, but it's a different spell. So let's see how that shakes out. Hold on. Pull with some shadow material from the shadow fell to create a non-living object of vegetable matter within range. So that'd be light material, ceramic or vines, thin chitin, chrysalis. You can also use this spell to create mineral objects such as stone, crystal, or metal. The object created must be larger than a 5-foot cube, and the object must be a form and material you have seen before. The duration depends on the object's material. The object is composed of Multiple materials use the shortest duration. So we got vegetable matter, stone crystals. 1 day, 12 hours. Okay, we'll just split the difference. 1 day is 24 hours. Stone crystal is 12, so I guess 12, 18, 24. So, there, easy enough. It is not concentration, correct? Yeah. Define this spell with one slot. Can create any object up to 50 feet in length and size. Amplifying this spell with 2 slots can create any object up to 500 feet in size. Material the ship is created from will determine the duration of the spell as listed below. There you go. Any other comments we need to make? Nope, that one's done. Double checking. On. Level increases. Hold on. Additional 50 feet up to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 5, 250 up to 250 feet with a 9th level spell. Satisfying. Sweet, man. That worked great. Beep, beep. This is easy enough. When a Spelljammer helm is created, when a Spelljammer helm is created, it also creates an orrery. To mount adjacent to the helm. Period. There you go. Easy peasy. Big B's hand. Which is focused. So the hand can be used as a siege weapon. Ooh, right. The hand can be used as a siege weapon without being upcast. That's right, because Clenching Fist already does just a stupid amount of damage. So just by itself, it can do siege damage. D3 times 10 force damage, actually. Upcasting the spell increases the damage of the Clenched Fist. Upcasting damage. Fifth. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. There we go. Let's see, grappling hand. When clenched fist. This should be clenching fist. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be bold with a period. Go. Then grappling hand should be bold as well. With a period at the end. When amplifying this spell, amplifying this hand with one slot, deals the damage of clenching fist above and can grapple vessels craft up to 50 feet in size. Amplifying this hand with 2 slots, deals the damage of clenching fist above and can grapple vessels up to 500 feet inside. Breaking free requires a pilot check versus spellcasting DC. The hand can't attack another target while the grapple is maintained. Period. There we go. Easy peasy. Let's see if there's any other comments about Bigby's hand that we may find some fun with. So, Bigby's... Yes, Bigby's hand. Thank you kindly. Join the left. Bigby's hand. Did you miss any particular details? Clenched, forceful, and attempting to push a creature within 5 feet of it in any direction you choose. Contested strength check. Interposing hand. Amplifying this hand with 1 slot, increases the maximum target size to 50 feet. Amplifying this hand with one slot increases the maximum target size to push the maximum target push size. A, C, D, F, G, H, I. Interposing hand. Interposing hand. Period. Bop. Amplifying this hand with one slot. Let's see. And interposes this up between you and the creature you choose until the hand gives a different command. The hand moves to stay between you and the target, providing you with half cover against the target. The target can't move through the hand space if its strength score is less than or equal to the hand's strength score. If its strength score is higher than the hand strength score, the target can move towards you, go the hand space, but that space is difficult terrain. Two slots and interpose a target up to 500 feet in size, period. There you go. That resolves Big B's hand. What's next, huh? Next we have Animate Object. I love it. This is where it gets really fun. Animate Object. I'm going to make a separate supplement about this, about Animate Object and Awaken. These two things specifically. Once this book comes out, it'll probably be like a 5, maybe 10-page document. We were talking about with Hornetica the last time we were streaming. I love it. I love living ships. Tenchi Muyo, the cat, was their spaceship. The Moya from Farscape. Anyway, Neon Genesis Evangelion, even that counts. There's others I know that float around inside the trope, but those are the biggies for me. But regardless, we're going to find Animate Objects. There we go. So, what do we have written about Animate Objects right now? So, it is a focus spell. That's going to stick. So, let's go ahead and put this here. Focused. For each level spell slot used to upcast this spell, you can affect a 50-foot square of ship or structure. Upcasting to a 9th level spell would animate a ship or object up to 200 feet long, occupying a 4x4 space. The ship moves by the pilot's thoughts as though moving their own body, and the ship gains a bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing ram, your choice, or changes an existing ram as such. The role of the pilot is otherwise unchanged. Animated siege weapons can operate as though full crewed with only one crew member regardless of the reload number, and the rank of the siege weapon is equal to the rank of the animating spellcaster. Oh, that's interesting. I like that. We're going to keep most of that. Let's look at this again. Comes in your hand, 10 objects within range. You can't animate an object, large or huge. As a bonus action, you can mentally command. Okay. Alright, animate object. Amplifying this spell to target a small craft. target a small craft up to 50 feet in size. The spell can be further. Hey, Chronic, good to see you, my dude. This spell can be further amplified to increase the size of ship. Oops, timely timer. Let's get another 20 minutes going. Amplified to increase the size of ship. The size of the ship by an additional 50 feet for each spell level. Up to 9th level would be 6, 7, 8, 9, 4. That's times 50 is 200. Up to 250 feet with a 9th level spell. A 9th level spell slot. When the ship is animated, if it doesn't have a ram, you can choose a bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing ram, comma, or change an existing ram if one is present. While commanding a ship this way, if there is no pilot present to this way, without a pilot, the ship is limited to moving squares up to 500 feet in scale. Animating, let's see, amplifying this spell with one slot can target a ranged siege weapon, period. Can target a large siege weapon. If you do, no, that's not right. Adam's gonna bark at me for not knowing what the language on this is, so that's why we pay him money, so he can bark at me. But in the meantime, we can at least, try. So, can target a ranged siege weapon. The siege weapon is considered. The siege weapon can load, aim, and fire itself as though it was fully crewed, and its effective crew rank is equal to the rank of the spellcaster. The rank of the spellcaster, period. And that would be level, rank. Level is its 5th level spell, so say at best you're going to get it at 9th level. 12, 13 to 16, 17 to 20. 3rd rank, 4th rank, 5th rank. Of course, 5 to 8 being 2nd rank, and 1st to 4th being first rank. It's the same ranks are the same breaking points as gaining proficiency bonus modifiers, improved proficiency bonuses. So you gain +2 at first level, +3 at 5th, yada 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 until +6 at 17th level. So it's all the same breaking points here. And then there's creature CRs. Not up to 1. 2 to 2 to 5, 6 to 9, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's right. 10 to 13, and then 14 plus. I don't know what creature would have this. You know, what first rank creature has access to animate object, but I'm kind of compelled to make some sort of like wild space gremlin that does now, so you can animate weapons and equipment and stuff on your ship to screw it up when you're not looking. And then, you know, like when you do, like the gremlin depossesses it and hides in the rafters or something, and you're like, what caused this giant hole in our ship? Or like it animates the ship and it triggers a spell jamming duel. That's a fun idea. I like that stuff. I could come up with that. I could get behind that material. So yeah, there you go. That is animate object. Super fun. Awaken. This is the final one. Awaken. I am excited about Awaken. This is your sidekick option right here. Let's see. So, a ceramic or wood ship can be targeted by this spell by upcasting 1 level of spell slot for each 50 foot of space the ship occupies. Upcasting a 9th level spell awakens a ship up to 200 feet, occupying a 4x4 space at the 50-foot scale. The awakened ship can telepathically communicate with anyone attuned to the spell jamming helm and can perform the role of, well, it's now support. And augur and support are the same role now. So, it can perform the role of pilot or support, its choice. With an action, bonus action, interaction, and its own mental commands. Which can be executed each round during which can be choose how the awakened ship will act under their leadership. Awakened siege weapons can also act as their own siege commanders with only 1 crew member. Let's see. Awakened siege. There. Yeah, I want to fix that. See, awaken is permanent just because it's but requires crew to operate. Awakening Spellcaster. Drop. So that's resolved. Now all we gotta do is resolve. Let's see. A ceramic or wood ship can be targeted by this spell. No, wait. Amplifying. Can target a ceramic or wood ship up to 50 feet in size. And now we can just steal text from there. The ship can be the spell can be further amplified to increase the size of the targeted ship. Targeted ship. I love getting natural language right. I hate writing natural language. It's just it's a puzzle that you want to break, and it's like I can see how good editors are like really good Sudoku players. Like a good Sudoku player can take an easy puzzle and just tear it apart in a minute. Really easy text, like mechanic, like non-ground, like minimal new mechanics, mostly just stat blocks and flavor text, room descriptions. I just blah 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 blah, just tear those things down because it's just kind of cutty pasty, and a lot of it's just flavor language if it's like descriptions and stuff, but. Like new content, like taking old mechanics and translating them into new uses, that's like a more complicated Sudoku puzzle. It takes longer to break it down. It's very, for me as a novice editor, it's cool to to solve the puzzle. Like this text right here is a moderate difficult level puzzle for me to decipher how am I to best use the wording in translating the stuff, which is always my first effort. It is the effort I endeavor for when I write, is to get this thing as good as I can get it, and so that way my editor might not have to lift so heavily, so I'm somebody agreeable to work with, and so that I can get more out of that editor because I'm not grinding his gears on BS. So each editor has their own percentage of shenanigans where they'll just like let something get away with something, like, yeah, that's good enough, or there's technically nothing that words things this way, so the way that you word it is sufficient because you're breaking ground. Some editors are like super hard-nosed. It's like there is an equivalent solution to this somewhere in the document, and by gods, we're gonna find it. And I've worked with different editors at different ends of the spectrum, and it's really good to be as thorough yourself as a writer so that you can start discerning what kind of an editor it is that you're working with, so that in future projects you can scale the depth of the content that you're producing to know what past relations you had that best synchronize with the kind of content that you're currently producing, which is another great reason to do what's the word I'm trying to use? The word is collaborations. Thank you. It's a good reason to collaborate is so that you can have a wider berth of experiences working with various pieces of the development formula, so that when you start breaking out and building your own content and you want to get back up, you've got a list of folks that I liked working with you. You were fun to work with. I was iffy about your content. Your stuff is not what we're looking for at all, but I respect you. Do you want to work on this? No, I didn't think you want to work on this thing. Okay, great. Well, we'll catch you on the other side on this other thing. That kind of stuff. Anyway. Let's create some space here. When the ship is awakened, It can act as its own pilot. It can attune to its own spelljamming helm and act in any mounted orreries and spell amplifiers. Amplifiers, period. The ship can act independently as a pilot in the role of pilot, support, pilot, siege commander. Oh wait, no, pilot and support. Any creatures attuned to the awakened ship's helm can communicate telepathically within 1 mile of the ship. Period. No, I'm just going to nip it down to that. Awakened siege weapons still require crews to operate. Require a crew to operate. Let's hold on. Let's double check the spell real quick. Objects come to life at your command. No, that's animate object. No, awaken. Damn it. It's the last spell, and then we get to do a cartography. Awaken. Thank you. It has a magical passages, such gemstone, huge beast or plant. Target must have either an intelligence score or intelligence of 3 or less. The target gains intelligence, and the target also gains the ability to speak one language you know. Freaking sweet. Target is a plant, it gains the ability to move its limbs. Oh. Can aim, fire, and reload as though fully crewed. And awakened siege weapons can act as their own siege commander, as well as and can aim, fire, and reload as a fully crewed. Period. The rank crewed. Period. The rank of the siege weapon is equal to the rank of the awakened spellcaster. Damage. 4, 10, 1d, 6 times 10, 1d8, 10, 1d, 10, 10, 1d, 12 times 10. act independently as the role of pilot. In any role, in any ship role. And any creatures attuned, keep this stuff going. Any creatures attuned to the awakened ship's helm can communicate telepathically within 1 mile of the ship. So let's just get rid of that. We don't need that. Cool, man. And then our sidebar here of animated and awakened ships. One option for your Spelljammer campaign is for all ships to be animated as the animate object spell when a Spelljammer pilot concentrates. When a Spelljammer pilot focuses on the helm. Ship naturally moving sails and otherwise moving naturally moving sails and attacking with ship with siege weapons as though the ship is a living creature and otherwise moving as the pilot chooses. Another option is for ships to be targeted by the awakened spell and become NPC companions that can communicate with whomever, that can communicate with those aboard the ship. Similar to a pilot, to a creature focusing on a helm or orrery, period. Using both options creates a ship-sized pet, the team adventurers within that can gain levels in any sidekick class. As spellcasters chosen, the ship can't cast any spells requiring semantic components. That's verbal. But can spend spell slots for spellcasting characters using the ship's helm, orrery, or spell amplifier. These are narrative reasons for why ships generally look like insects, birds, and fish, because animated ships move like their corresponding animal ships in combat and while exploring, period. There you go. That's my quick little glurp about animating and making your ships allies, which we will now be able to, once this document publishes, blow this out into a 5 or 15 page document, whatever it is. Whatever it is, if I keep it short and sweet, I can make it a pay what you want for like $3, just like I do with Spell Point Sorcerers. Spell Point Warlocks. Spell Point Sorcerers, by the way, is in the works. I just had to sideline it for now to help take care while we took care of Spelljammer. But it's still out there. There's stuff about it in the playlists. You can check it out. It's cool. It's cool as hell. Anyway, this is done. So we've finished our expanded revisions for spellcasting, upscaling mechanics, and again, this will all be free to preview once the document publishes on DMsGuild. There is a playtest document in the description down below, but it is certainly not these rules anymore. The document that is in the Patreon link, it's 190 pages worth of just ideas and mechanic and like writing mechanics and different concepts for like guilds, kingdoms, armies, squads, vehicles, boats, spelljammer stuff, objects. It's a crap ton of just general ideas involving upscaling that, like, for example, the Spelljammer book, we'll basically, once this publishes, we'll tear off that piece and throw it away, because if you want to see the final mechanics and writing that we have here, post-edits for the spelljamming system, then you can just read the thing on DMsGuild. We don't need to link it into the command documents as a whole. But then next, we're going to tear out the Guilds and Kingdoms pieces and build that into a document and flesh that out to make that work smoother and more easily than how it's currently presented. So that document will eventually be old news as we continue to evolve the development of that. And then squads and armies at the front of the book. We're going to take that and we're going to rebuild Dragonlance, Age of the Dragon Queen, or Rise of the Dragon Queen, whatever the hell it is. Anyway, in command of Kryn. It's basically we're in command of the Dragon War. Who knows what we're going to actually call it? But we're going to Zaraxis. We're going to light as Zaraxis the thing. And then we take the mechanics that we're building and we're going to rewrite it. So I'm excited about that. That's super freaking fun. Like and subscribe to tag along. And where are we at right now? We're at 12:45. So we've completed our primary objective of getting spellcasting done. Next thing we're going to do is here's our book cover. We'll get that out of the way. Let's continue exploring Latazarax's cartography. So here is here's the map that we made for the Citadel of Light. This is actually how we have it, and then we have the underbelly. Oops, that's the ship map, the asteroid map. Here's the underbelly that we have as an outline right now that we need to flesh out. Pardon the pun. Anyway, so the underside of this, let's go find our handy dandy D&D Beyond. Go to our content, sources, source books. Adventures in Space. Why does there exist? Let's go to part 4. Yeah, there we go. So you can see like how the asteroid's kind of how the asteroid is built. It's got all this scraggly topography, but there's no. I'm not gonna fault the artists that created this work, but they weren't given a good art brief. I think it's because there's not good communication at Wizards of the Coast between what the developers are trying to do and what the art design team is producing. So we know that from the math that we have inside the document that we've already produced here, that you need to have for every 1 mile of forest that you have, every square mile of forest that you have in space, it'll support up to 10,000 people perpetually. So the Latazaraxis needs to have a forest on the underside of the temple, just like the Rock of Brawl has a forest on its underside. Not only for food supply and just ongoing nourishment, but also for breathable air. And that's not addressed in this at all. So, again, it's not the artist's fault. They had an art brief, they followed it, and the art directors should have known enough about the adventure. And there should have been, well, not even just the adventure, there needs to be enough actual mechanics in the book to be able to properly illustrate stuff. You need to know how many people can you fit in the population of a 1 mile sized asteroid community, and how is that sustainable? Like, how do they feed this thing? What do they do to get it more air? it's going to run out of air. It's just a giant freaking rock, and the illustration shows absolutely nothing that sustains life. It would have a ridiculous amount of logistics. Like, it would have ships constantly streaming to it, like in an endless caravan path from the Zarax's homeworld where these guys live with an atmosphere and resources, to bring it out here to the Citadel to keep all this city shit alive. I mean, that's why we made the book. There needs to be logical answers for, like, how much force do we need on this thing? Well, we already know that a mile of vegetation can support 10,000, a population of 10,000. So the Zarax's Citadel has up to 10,000. Bob's your uncle. So we are going to, we're just going to build some cartography here. So I'm going to make a duplicate of this layer. In my D&D, attacking the Citadel from the bottom is a pretty legit idea. You can theoretically target the bottom of the Citadel with asteroids and just slam massive, like you can tow asteroids with the fleet that you accumulate from Doomspace. Here's the thing about Doomspace. It is a system that is slowly destroying all the planetary bodies in the system. As they get closer and closer to the black hole nexus, they start to break up. So you can literally, once you get a crew of factions working with you in Doomspace, you can go to the core of the system, get shattered planets, just like, you know, huge asteroids. Like this Citadel is 1 mile, right? And if I can get a crew of 5 hammerhead ships in this, well, actually it's a maximum of 10 squares. So it'd be like 2 hammerhead ships. You could have a chain, and then you could have 2 hammerhead ships that have a chain, and then these 2 chains are dragging an asteroid, a 1,000-foot asteroid behind them. That is a significant threat to the citizens of Zaraxis. We're just going to drag this, go smash. We just smash your Citadel of Light. Or smash. We just destroyed all of your docks, so you can't dock your ships anymore. This is the 4th pillar of shenanigans in D&D. When your team realizes, hey, we just gathered up a fleet of ships. What's the biggest thing we can drag behind us and throw it at the light of at the Zarax's Citadel? Just boo, lob it across, like kalunk, 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 kalunk. It's like just destroyed this 1,000-foot wide swath across the back of the butterfly, because you've got a crap ton of ships dragging a rock behind them. Like, it takes you a month dragging this rock with you through astral space. Meanwhile, looks like this rock happens to have a dungeon lair of monsters that wake up by you dragging it out of orbit in Doomspace. Now it's going to come and try to eat your ship. So this is what you're dragging through the astral space, and here comes some space skitters. That's going to keep you occupied while you're going from Doomspace to Zaraxis space, dragging these massive rocks. That is another super fun little supplement piece that we can build off of these core rules as just like a little kicker. Like, hey, here's a fun, you know, asteroid bowling, whatever. Anyway, that's the thought that goes behind that. That's the kind of stuff that we have to think about. So that's how we have. That's what we as first edition DMs. That's the kind of shit we have to develop and think about for 5th edition stories. Like, they give you this very narrow path that's trying to kind of tell you what, you know, how to engage the enemy and what kind of encounter they expect. But old school gamers are like, no. What's the quickest way we could break this game? And when they find out how, they engage. And so you have to have a game that can survive that shenanigan pillar of play. And like I keep saying, that is 5th edition doesn't supply enough how to help resolve when players ask why not. So you have to have the mechanics there to encourage the creativity that is D&D. Like, they don't... the depth has to be there. This is what players do. This is what players ache to find. They love this crap. It's like their mission to find crazy ass shenanigans to pull. So you gotta be ready for it, man. So we're gonna drop down to a 3 pixel brush and start building some topography here. I do like that. Like, there's a lot of systems. There's a lot of people that have created various spell jamming mechanics, but I have yet to see somebody be able to say, hey, I want to throw a 2-mile asteroid at that planet. How much damage am I going to do? Or how many ships do I need to be able to pull that? Like, that's what this book has. It's about combat and exploration, man. We may as well call it Spelljammer, the shenanigan pillar of fun. Maybe when I finally make my own role playing game, maybe we'll just call it Fantasy Shenanigans, or like Shenanigan RPG. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to end up calling it. Hopefully something fun. I'm doing, this is elevation lines. I'm actually going with elevation lines here. I didn't know I would do that, but here I am, working with topography, like, hardcore. I'm actually pretty content with that. I'm going to do like this, and we're going to do like a lump like this. I'm going to leave that broken off as a thing. It would be. Here, we're just going to make a lump like this. And we're going to make another lump like this. God, now I want to make a whole like little adventure about like the underbelly of the Temple of Zaraxis, like a hidden dungeon that leads through the underside, and then you can invert and flip up and land on the outskirts of the Citadel here on the top side. I'm kind of interested in that adventure content. I might get into that shit later on. Like, this is the kind of stuff that we can do when we really build out scaling mechanics that allow for flexible options. Super fun. I'll need to hire a crew. I'm not sure who I'd have that would be interested in working on a project like this, because like I would not want to be point man on that. Like I'd want veto power and consultation rights to everything that's being produced, but I would want to work on it as like a side piece on top of other content that I'm producing. So I would need to hire, like I would want to do the cover and like interior art and maps and stuff, like just the asset production, and leave the actual content to whomever it is that I ended up working with. That's the kind of stuff that I dream of, but I need the bandwidth to be able to figure out how much attention how much hand-holding do I need to do in a project like that. So what I want to do is I want this thing to get published. Ideally, I'm going to get all of the command books published, the squads and armies, the guilds and kingdoms, as well as the Spelljammer book. Once I get those out, then I've got the Eberron adventure that I'm finishing up as well at the same time, and then I've got the Martial Powers book that we've been working on. But these different projects, they're going to come to an end. And when they come to an end, I get to start using all of these tools in one D&D, which is going to be around apparently for a while. And I now have a bedrock of mechanics that we can keep and depend on. And the mechanics that we're building here may need some rewording, but for the most part are going to be compliant with 1D&D because it's dealing with rank systems and reformatting the scale of damage on things, which 1D&D for the most part isn't going to touch. I'm confident. I think 1D&D is mostly a character rework, and these mechanics scale outside of the character. You're still going to have 20 levels. And that's the only thing that really matters the most with any of these mechanics in here. So we should be pretty future-proof into 2024 with this Spelljammer supplement. And then when Planescape comes out, boy, that's going to really curve into this document. I am really excited about that. So, and I know that Spelljammer is going to come out hot faster than we'll finish the Guilds and Kingdoms and the Squads and Armies books, but we'll have we already have a good head start on those products. And once they come out, that builds a full library of mechanical options that we can then lean into these different IPs that Wizards has put out, like, you know, Planescape and the Modron March, so we can start developing an army of 13 million Modrons marching across the plains. We can scale that. We have the ability to do that with Squads and Kingdoms, with Squads and Armies. We've already demonstrated it. So the Blood War is on the table for us to start scaling out as a strategy fight that you can command different Hell Legions, and maybe, who knows, maybe you want to pick up MCDM's Illrigger for like $50 or however much he's charging for it now, and lead your force of hell using the guild mechanics and the Squads and Kingdoms books or the Squads and Armies book that we built, instead of whatever his 400 pages are for $90. That's ridiculous. Shouldn't have to pay that much for 5e mechanics, man. But I commend him for being so thorough. It'd be nice if it was 5th edition. And yes, I am very much pointy with knives. He claims that you're still playing 5th edition, but there's nothing in those combat mechanics for those armies that feel anything like 5th edition at all. Like, you can literally transit, like you can start using my squad mechanics, my ship mechanics mid-round with your normal characters. Like, you can just like say, hey, I'm gonna use my bonus action to do this upscaled mechanic for my ships, and I'm just gonna keep dungeon delving with my characters because I've got a psychic link with my awakened ship that I've animated. I want to have it start bombing this fortress from above while we're going through the dungeon. That way when we get up there, maybe there'll be less troops for us to have to worry about when we get through. And we won't have so much heat looking after us. That's a really good use for upscaling mechanics. Do an aerial bomb from orbit to distract your enemy from finding you in its dungeon. Like, that's the kind of mechanics. I am totally throwing shade at another producer. And, hey guys, if you want me to build mechanics for you guys at MCDM, I'm happy to have that conversation about, if that would make sense for us to work as a team. But this system actually uses 5e mechanics, like very specifically uses 5e action economy, 5e damage scaling systems, 5e language to actually move in scale as you would expect 5e creatures to move in scale if they were just really big. We've actually taken the 15 months it needs to actually develop that stuff out, and I am proud to report that it works as intended. So, big feather in my cap, big swagger, just some to some kid working in a garage against this multi-million-dollar production studio. Don't mind me, hold my beer. Alright, I'll put the ego down. But I'm very proud. Very, very proud of these mechanics. They work. They really do work just that well. You'll read it yourself. You can read it for free. You don't have to believe me. Read the whole thing. You'll love it. Typography look like a butterfly. I love it. None of these systems are complicated. They're just thorough. You know, you just have to be really specific and really cover all of your angles. And like, how is this stuff going to actually be used? And what are we building here that's going to actually help curve into those gaps and provide answers that can be replicated and used outside of the intended content? Like the shell system that we have for damage capacity in larger squads is, we've talked about like psychic shielding and like propaganda in a community as a different like shield layering shell system that you have to penetrate the depths of bureaucracy to be able to get your document signed within a timely means. That kind of stuff. Like, you can get super meta and really almost fourth wall-y with stuff, but the mechanics remain the same of that scaling shell system by rank. Like a 5th rank bureaucrat is going to be able to tie you down with a lot more red tape than a 1st rank bureaucrat could. It just doesn't have the knowledge and system mastery to know where all the little janky loopholes are at. Like, you've got a semicolon here instead of a dash. It's out of compliance. We can't move forward until the document is resolved. Now you have to go reformat the document and get it, you know, revalidated as a legitimate document through processing, and that could hold you down for a couple of weeks, especially if the bureaucrat gummed up the wheels with a bribe, for instance. And it's not even a monetary bribe. It's just like, hey, I'm going to buy coffee for your crew for the next couple of weeks. I need you to take a really long look at this document for me. Like, can you put it through like a special audit and then flag it for a follow-up audit, which will like put it back 3 months? Like, that's the kind of crap you'd have to deal with a like a 5th rank bureaucrat. That might even just be 3rd rank bureaucratic nonsense that you'd have to deal with. But the point is that we're now talking about bureaucracy as a scaling arm, like as an army scaling unit of soldiers, and each piece of bureaucracy is another layer of pikemen that you have to punch your way through. But the mechanics that we have is so basic of attacking and armor class and movement that you can effectively scale a weaving your way through bureaucracy like wading through a battlefield in you know, the plains of Mechanus, where law is reality. You know, that's like, if I'm going to argue a contract with you in Hades or like in Baator, I may literally have to fight my way through a maze of complicated promises to uphold that end up snaring you in these endless loops of having to take action over action over action to resolve the outline of the contract to get, say, the wish that you wanted, for instance. I'm speaking super off the cuff here, but I'm just imagining how you can visualize different types of experiences symbolically. Kind of like how Pan's Labyrinth is imagining this pixie world, but the girl's really just bleeding out on the side of a well. But she's imagining it as being in this Seelie court. And so, like, the imagery isn't reflecting the reality of the situation. So you can use that kind of imagery. Like Labyrinth, for instance, is about a girl trying to gain her own sense of boundaries. Like, stop neglecting me, stop taking me for advantage, stop dictating false authority over me when you don't have the right. Like, that's where her breaking the bubble of you don't have any power over me comes from. It's her asserting that these things that she's supposed to be interested in, she doesn't have to be if she doesn't want to be. And it's her own choice, it's her own power. And it's like when the Goblin King's bubble bursts. It's literally bursting his bubble. It's like, oh damn, I guess I don't have control over you anymore. That sucks. He didn't really see anything wrong with what he was doing. It's just he just wasn't paying attention to what she wanted. So he kind of got bitchy about it. Anyway, that's me talking about Labyrinth, as opposed to Pan's Labyrinth, which is a very different message. But yeah, we were building rocks and. That. Crazy old Maurice, eh? You know what? I'm going to get rid of a lot of this topography. I like this edge and then interior incline, but I don't think I want to go. I think I want to be really picky about how much of that I do out here. Me throwing shade for 20 minutes. I had a conversation with this guy the other day, and he didn't use. He was creating whatever it was. I'm not gonna call somebody out specifically, but the way that was is that there was a mechanical system that exists inside of the DMG already. That is complementary to the system that he's building, and instead of using that system in the DM's guild, they created a completely different system that resolves the same problem. Kind of like how piety and renown are the exact same thing, except renown is to an organization while piety is to a specific god. Imagine that, but instead of using a point system, it uses like an exhaustion system, for example. So like your piety is an exhaustion thing, and you would be able to show more loyalty to your god or your organization by being able to endure higher levels of exhaustion that the tasks they have you perform. Like every time you perform a task, for instance, you gain a level of exhaustion. I don't agree with that system, but hypothetically, let's say that's the kind of system that you decided to do. Well, the DMG already has renown, and it already has both Theros and Ravnica using that renown system to demonstrate how you can give universal perks to characters to have a deeper level of role-playing portrayal. In Ravnica, it would be becoming a more influential guilds member, and in Theros, it would be having more and more of your god's attention as you perform heroic tasks in their name, granting them more devotion and more power. So ignore that renown system and instead build for yourself an exhaustion system. And it's not that I think this exhaustion system is better. The reason I got was because the renown system as written was too confusing. I didn't understand. My table couldn't figure out how renown is supposed to work. So instead of using renown at all, we're going to use this exhaustion system instead. And we're going to put it on the DM's Guild. And instead of having something that uses the same renown and piety mechanics that already exist, we're going to introduce this exhaustion system, and there's no real way to translate from one to the other. So now that product, when it comes out, will be interesting and even thematically may be very strong. But the exhaustion mechanic means that you can't use it with anything else unless they're using that exhaustion mechanic that you have for, say, their piety or whatever. It wasn't that. It was something completely different. But it's just an analogy. It's the first one I get. But that's the feeling that I get after having done all this work and finding these answers about how you can actually scale 5e at any size that you want to be able to depict any type of scenarios, scaling, resources, battles. It's all here. And after me finding it, just me. Like, why doesn't this thing exist already? And why are all these other studios spending stupid amounts of money creating this thing and not finding it? Like, not finding these answers. Like, do you specifically not want to work with this? Like, are you trying to build your own system and you're going to curve it off of this and thus have a more clunky 5e? Or did you just miss it? And I don't get it. Like, I shouldn't be the one that finds these things. I just thought it'd be somebody else. I didn't think it was going to be me. So, I'm just surprised that it is. You know, I didn't think I'd be the guy that creates 5-color mana spell points, you know? Like, we all thought that when Wizards took over D&D, we're going to see an MTG crossover thing. It's going to be super cool. It's the same company. These guys are like the master of spell mechanics, and it's never happened. Piety and Renown is the closest thing that we've gotten yet. Like, is it... Anyway, it's a disappointment, and it's just weird that it's me that does it. So, I don't know. I'm not bragging. I'm just like... I recognize the stuff that we're doing here is pretty unique. And by unique, I mean, for some reason, no one else has freaking figured it out. Why? It just doesn't make any sense. I'm happy to be that guy. I mean, I'm humbled that these ideas would be given to me, of all people. So I'm very thankful for them, but at the same time, it's like, why? Anyway, like 5 people unsubscribed because Phil's ranting again. It's like that's not what I'm trying to do. But I am really, really excited about where D&D, like I can use all of these books that I'm developing on the DM's Guild to pick and choose what mechanics I really like to represent a D20 game, and then build my own and put it on Kickstarter, and you know, do a thing. Make a 5e game that's compliant with other 5e games. That's just simpler. So simpler, but more flexible to scale into other systems and other ideas like these things we've been talking about. Anyway, we'll see. Our tribe will grow, and our people will find their way to us. And 5 years from now, I will be having the same conversation. Why me? About the awesome channel of folks that are around and building stuff with me, and all this stuff is already out there for people to riff on and build new campaign ideas with, and have a Discord channel out there where people can talk about, ranking, scaling mechanics in different genres of game, and like I'll have my heist system out, and like the Exorcist campaign, like the Exorcist role playing game. That could be a solo self-guided campaign if you want, where it provides you with tools to be able to touch the things inside of you that you're afraid to face, or you can play it with a team where you're going in to pull demons out of damaged people. So you can keep it beer and pretzel casual, or afterwards you can spend time with the book and build tools to create shafts of light that can lead from your heart down to where it hurts in your stomach. That I think is going to be a really cool book, but I need to have all my mechanics out there, and then build the Kickstarter to have the basic RPG system before I can start building like spiritual psychological tools for people to self-reflect upon. But I think that's going to be a really fun project to build, and I think these books are allowing me the opportunity to learn the mechanical language to be able to express things obtuse like that, and to be able to successfully frame them so that it can be presented as a game, but have that deeper exploration opportunity to be able to actually explore your space. And I'll have another X amount of years of hunting darkness inside of myself, and what I needed to do to be able to bring light into it to help heal it. That's kind of the Exorcist process to me. So I'm kind of excited about that, honestly. I think that's going to be a really cool game. But hopefully it'll be like something you can just sit down and read. That it'll be fun to look at those tools. But framing it around like a spiritual warrior that's seeking to heal themselves. God, I can call it like a tone or something like that. Exorcist, the Atonement. Something like that. Something cool. So I guess that's all I'm going to say about that for now. That's causing me to surge a lot inside. Curve this out. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. We can do like that. I watched Infinite with Mark Wahlberg last night on, I want to say, yeah, it was on Paramount. Paramount's actually a pretty damn good channel. It's got Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Thank you. Man, I love that movie. That is such a funny, like, when, spoiler alert, when Tom Cruise dies from drowning and then he wakes up and like he has like no mojo for the next two scenes. It's just awesome. Like he's just like he's all like woozy and he doesn't have any luck. It's just funny. It's a funny scene. It is one of my favorite Tom Cruise scenes ever. Just brilliant. And it's a Bad Robot production. That's a good film. That is like Bad Robot can do quirky, fun adventure stuff. As long as they don't do too much. They start building a franchise out of something, it goes wonky. But Bad Robot's got some really fun first takes on stuff. Like the first Star Trek film that Bad Robot redid, that was great. But it almost immediately went downhill. Like, it would have been better off as just like a one shot. Who knows? I am no Hollywood expert. For a bit longer. Yeah, I think I'm pretty good with that topography. Cool. So now we're going to outline. Topography. And we're going to connect. We're going to use a 2-pixel brush. We were on 3 for these outlines, and now we're going to be on 2 pixels, which is a little bit slimmer for us to express the word I'm trying to use here. somebody's got their bass thumping, it feels, yeah, sub-audible. Like wom 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 wom. Happens in the afternoon around here sometimes. It's an apartment complex. Every apartment complex is kind of like that to a degree. Connect. There. All right, cool. So we can. Yeah, there it stopped. Hey, Hornetico. Just the 2-hour run. I'll be here for another half hour. We're working on the underside of the Citadel of Light, Light as our axis. So we have the top side here where we did all the city work and peppered in some little forest spots, clumps of trees and stuff like in parks and whatever. But now we need to make sure there is enough oxygen to perpetuate the population of 6,000 to 10,000 people that live here. So we have to. I'm building the rocky underbelly here with connective contour lines right now, and then once we get through this sequence, we'll start putting forest in. So I'm thinking in the next 15 minutes I should have the topography here figured out. And then we can start putting in the vegetation. So, since the Citadel of Light is only 1 mile in scale, it has planar gravity, not spherical. So it has an upside and a bottom side, and the Axis doesn't address the underbelly of the Citadel at all. It doesn't even mention it. Barely even wanted to mention that there was a ship battle. Like, it didn't want to even go there. So, again, we for us to be able to provide a thorough piece that's like, hey, this is worth buying, we really need to kind of like dive into some of these details. So we're going to provide you an underbelly map. So, cheers. Here you go. That's what we're working on right now. And I freaking love maps. Love maps. I need to grab some water real quick. I'll be RB. Now we need a mug. Water and a mug. Here we go. And I need to, honestly, I gotta take a quick bio break. So give me a hot second here, and I'll be RB. BRB, yos. See you right back. Stay on target. Almost there. All right. Give me a minute. My gal made lamb and stuffing. I do enjoy cornbread stuffing with sausage. It's good. All right, we're back at it. I am thoroughly enjoying my holiday week. I joy and privilege of spending time with my gal tonight. We had a great holiday weekend. Just great holiday weekend, and very much needed battery recharging going on there with the Phil. But scheduled to see her on Tuesdays as well, so we're sticking to the schedule and just hanging out when we get to hang out. And so I'll hang out with her tonight. I'll hang out with her tomorrow night. Thursday night is self time, so we don't spend Mondays and Thursdays together, which is why I do playtesting on Mondays and Thursday nights most typically. And then she's got stuff that she does Saturday morning, so sometimes I do playtesting or adventures on Saturday mornings. Yeah, so the rest of this week, this is Tuesday, tomorrow is Wednesday, so I will be back at 6 a.m. Seattle time, Pacific time, to do another 3 hours of Eberron Good Morning. And then we will. I'm not sure what we're going to do tomorrow afternoon. I know that Monday, the second next week, we are going to do Martial Powers expansion and looking at how to reimagine different martial archetypes using the power system. Like what powers would you purchase, or what powers would you have your character learn to like be an assassin, or be an arcane archer, or to be a berserker or ancestral guardian or whatever. Like what options would you want to take from what we have, and how good are we pulling off that character fantasy, that archetype? How well are we executing it? That is our challenge on Monday for the Martial Powers session. And since I have Monday off, I can spend a solid 3 hours or so doing that if I want. So we'll probably end up spending an hour on each class: fighters, rogues, and barbarians, the three that lose their archetype for using martial powers. But like if we find a good path, like if we find a good way to build like Path of the Berserker for Barbarian, we could take that same build and load it into the Ranger or the Monk or a Paladin, And so you could have like a berserker kit, quote unquote kit, for any martial character that chooses these 15 martial powers, or this combination of powers and feats, or this damage type, or however, whatever it is you want to spend your 15 powers on over the course of your character's 20 levels. What kind of archetypes can we build? And I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be Monday, so that's going to be awesome. That's a long way away from now, and I'll be back at work on Tuesday. So I've got 7 days. I've got today and another 6 days after that, and I'll be on Saturday. So coming up this Wednesday morning, tomorrow morning, will be Eberron maps, mapping the cemetery again. And then in the afternoon, I don't know. What are we doing in the afternoon? What should I do? What should I do tomorrow afternoon? It'll be my lunchtime stream. It'll be at least 3 hours. So I don't know what. I mean, I've got a ton of ship token assets to produce. I've got more cartography I need to finish for Eberron. I've got maps I need to, like starship, like star system maps, and for Lada Zaraxis. Let's see. I have creature tokens I need to make for the Eberron adventure. The same way that we're doing tokens for the Spelljammer supplement, we need to do token assets for the Eberron adventure as well. So I'm kind of wetting our whistle on doing the ship token or the creature tokens here for Spelljammer, but we will again do all this stuff for the Eberron adventure as well, like a bunch of undead, like crystal encrusted skeletons and bloated zombie bodies and drowned assassins and mercenaries and necromancers and Karens and shadow mastiffs and all that stuff. We have to make tokens for all that shit. I honestly don't know what it is I want to do tomorrow afternoon. If there's anyone on stream here who has anything in particular that they want me to invest time on tomorrow afternoon, I'm willing to do it. It can be literally anything that I'm working on. I am open. I'm open to whatever. Maybe no one on stream here has any requests, and they're all like, whatever it is you want to do, boss, that's cool with us. And if that is the case, then I will let the muse decide tomorrow afternoon. She'll have an opinion. She just doesn't have one yet. I want to get rid of that. Boy, I really want to merge those two things down. You feel that? I really want to do that. 3. Well, crap. I literally forgot to do all this stuff in 2 pixels. Alright, well, let's do it all again. Can't learn. I can't let myself off the hook, because I'm not learning anything if I do it that way, so let's do it all again. The music's mocking me right now, I can feel it. I love doing this work. Can I emphasize that enough? Like, I freaking love doing cartography. It is just so relaxing to flow through the document. It's so fun. Oops. You are absolutely wrong color, my friend. Let's rewind that crap real quick. You can do like that. Kind of like that. I do have a lot of martial power stuff I need to work on. I need to do some mechanic cleanup. I'm not sure how productive it's going to be to do that on stream, though, because if I get on stream, I'm just going to want to rant about shit forever. And that's not good, hard, development content production there. But I got revisions I need to make. I'll probably do those off stream. Like, depending on what we have on our plate this evening, I might have some couch dev time coming my way. My gal bought a grill and she wants to build it here. I'm okay with a girl leaving a grill here, I guess. It's a big step in a relationship. Like your toothpaste wasn't enough. Let's add a grill. I'm sure she's worth it. She's like, I want to build a grill. You want to build a grill like from scratch? She's like, no, we need to go buy one. But, it'll be like one of those self-assembly things. I'm like, if you want to build a grill, you can. It's like, okay, but I'm going to build it at your place. I'm like, okay. You want to build me a grill? You go ahead and build me a grill. Crazy mammal. Need to emphasize to her that she can't read anything into building a grill here. I don't know what that means in your Southern family disposition, but it doesn't really feel like a promise ring. Gotta keep him guessing. He let me build that grill there, but he's not taking me on any cruises. It's like, that's right, I just told you. You don't get any special favors for building a grill at my home. At worst, I now have to deal... At worst, I'm a blind guy that now has a freaking grill he has to move. Like, there's potentially, like, zero-sum game here for me. Like, are you gonna cook with that grill? It's like, that's the plan. It's like, I think I want an outline of that plan. When will you be cooking swordfish? wants to build a grill. What are you? All right. One grill. You got it. Things we do for love, guys. Insane. This music reminds me of the original Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider soundtrack. I can't remember the name of the band specifically. But man, that original Tomb Raider soundtrack's really good. There's good music on that. Many new machines on X. See, there we go, using the wrong damn pixel size again. Challenging to me. I think I can get away with that. Yeah, I like how that looks. Not here, Timely Timer. Thank you for keeping time. I feel pretty good. Yeah, it feels like the right place to be. There. There we go. Alright, I cleaned that up. Second thought, maybe I can't let it go. So here's what I want you to do, Hanzo. Go to Shimoda Village. Discover what has slain all of these citizens. Report back to me. Now go. Alright, so how are we navigating this? What we need to do here. What am I trying to achieve? I'm trying to create a separate plateau between this space and this space by having a single midline separating the two. Which we've got going here. I'm content with that so far. But it needs to have a dispersion point that separates the two plateaus more cleanly, and I think this does that. There. Okay, cool. That worked. But if I really want it to work, I need to angle away. Because the visual language here can get muddy. So you need to keep it simple. So you can see from both perspectives at once. If I was standing on this plateau looking down, does that still look like the same crease? If I was on this plateau over here looking down, as opposed to here looking down, like this crevice has to remain the same between the two for this to be accurate visual language. So I need to have that thickened gap. That helps separate these two spaces from each other. Cartography, man, it is so fun. I love cartography. Like that. Cool. Nice. Yeah, that is easy to see. Alright, let's just keep winding our way around, eh? All right, cool. Carrying on. Here's the top of the Lazaraxis here, the Citadel here, and then it leads to here. Overlaying, I like how that overlays. I think that's actually really fun. How well that lines up, that's nice. But this is the underside, so I think we don't have to worry about that sort of stuff. But again, we're trying to build out the landscape for the underbelly of this place in case the team wants to land here and sneak their way aboard without having to land in the middle of the frickin' street up top, which is, I think, very reasonable. Like, they're going to be on high alert upstairs. Like, we're being attacked by a small fleet of enemy faction ships, and if I read those call signs correct, they all have a beef with us. So everyone hunker down, this could get ugly, is like what their general shout out should be. Not, oh, it's market day and there's casually a war happening off of our, half a mile away from here. We can see the arc fire from the spell amplifiers sparking at each other. But no worry, I'll just buy another kumquat. That makes no sense. These guys need bunkers, man. Like, how often does somebody take a shot at the Zaraxian Empire? Do not. So I mean, like, they're not going to be so cocky as to think, oh, you guys were with that armada that's been killing our children. Well, have an apple. It's like, no, they're not gonna. That is not how this place is. They shorthanded it because it can really just eat up pages and pages of content trying to describe how an entire community, much less a city of 10,000 souls, is going to respond to a flying fleet of enemy ships trying to destroy your temple of light, like your source of power and life. Like, here they come, they're gonna destroy it. That's cool. I guess I'll make another chair. Makes no sense, man. But like, if they had actually written the adventure as like, everyone's hunkered down in bunkers. It's like, okay, great. What do these bunkers look like? It's like, oh, the rabbit hole. The intense rabbit hole that is building a supplement that explores new concepts. Oh. The difficulty. Wizards, how are you going to manage after getting rid of all of your old design team? Ripping wounds. Good luck. That's what we're doing here. But sad thing is, I don't think I can afford to work for Wizards. I don't think they'd be willing to pay me enough money for the amount of mechanical depth that I'm capable of providing to virtually any supplement they decide to come out with. I don't think they have the budget for it. I don't think they have the budget for me, which puts me in a damn deep pickle. That means I have to wait until they screw up what I could have fixed and fix it on the back end. Hence us doing this project in the first place. I mean, I guess it's nice to make the money, and I gotta build stuff anyway, so the Muse is gonna do what the Muse do. But I think it'd just be infinitely more fun if they would just give me, $150,000 a year to build these things for them. Just give me some interns. I'll make them monkey text it out. I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels like they deserve that, or like that they can sit at the big boys table like that. And, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't have the chops. I certainly don't have the timeline. That's not true. They gave the Hasbro team 2 years to build that Dragonlance board game. I built all this in 15 months by myself. Like, what have they been doing? Wasting all that. Like, how many millions of dollars did Hasbro dump into building that stupid board game? I'm gonna come along and school them with a mass combat system in 6 months. Like, here, your board game is just completely pointless. Here, play 5e. Go have fun. I'm actually looking forward to the Gnomish Inventors siege more than anything else. When, spoiler alerts for the War of the Dragon Queen TM box set, blah. But there's a really cool. There's this Gnomish inventor that creates devices and stuff that show up inside the campaign adventure that Wizards is selling us. But yeah, there's a small there's a small squad of enemy forces that are basically harassing this small village, and it's perfect. Your team could you're like 4th level, I think. Well, no, 3rd level when you get there. If you had 20 guys with you, it'd be the perfect size for you to have a skirmish. Just perfect. And seriously, if you're always running around with like 20 or 30 troops with you, your character can die at any time. You just get rid of them and just swap in one of those rank and file soldiers. Like, congratulations, you just got upgraded to 3rd level narratively. You're the new adventurer on the team, and everyone automatically trusts you. That's Hank. Hank's been taking hits with his shield since we showed up. We trained with Hank. He was squad commander until he had that guy take off his helmet, and then he led to that fatality. He got demoted, and he's just never had an opportunity to be squad leader again, and he's just been looking for an opportunity. Like, that's your soldier backstory. Now, Rico, take a bow, and you're back in the mix right away. Like, 0 hang time because you've got a squadron of guys that are just waiting to become PCs. Like, all these NPCs are just waiting to get elevated to character status so that they can gain all the skill sets and the powers, and like a real Toy Story narrative that's hiding inside of these NPCs that we populate the game with. Neat. So that's the topography. So if we're looking at it from the side, you've got the temple, you got the Citadel of Light here, right? And then you've got here in the you got this here that's kind of like this, and then it goes like that. And then over here, you've got this valley. It goes like this, and this is like that, and then it drops in like that. You have the Citadel of Light that's down here like this. I could do something like over here to like lower this down like that. And then something here. That. There, that's your fortress from the side, like from the back. My drafting class is kicking in again. That point leads down to here. This point goes to this. I'm on screen? No, I'm not. Jeez, that means I need to zoom in more. God, that is ugly. Kearney. Oh, we're just getting the gist of it right now. There. Good gist. Just like that. Yeah. Nice. That's pretty cool. I'm okay with that being here, I think. Yeah, it's on 2 now. Topography for a forest region. Just keeping an eye on that. I bet that works out okay. Yeah, I think that's okay. Okay, now that we have those components in place, topography, bottom, Crimson Forest. Yeah, 3 pixel brushing. Yeah. Is that what we did for the top side? No, we did 2 pixels. We'll be at this for another half hour, and then we'll be done for the day. Probably have bigger tree clumps because this is, after all, only 500-foot squares. So it's not like, you know, like a good sized tree is like that big. So the amount of shrubberage and leaf texture that I'm generating here is a little beyond the scale of what actual clumps of trees would be represented here. Keep that in mind when we're building up the language for how big are these things, you know. It's important. That, jaggedy, and jaggedy over here. Break a piece off like that. I can see druids getting really hostile against things that try to screw up any kind of forests that are growing on asteroids and stuff. So, like, this is a firm example of life trying to flourish someplace, and I will punch you in the balls if you try to destroy it. At the same time, hey, it looks like you guys are trying to destroy this entire world. Why don't you learn to let your shit go and just find someplace that's a little easier to maintain than having to send death vines after entire planets? Give me a break. You guys are all inbred idiots. That's what the local druids would say about the Zaraxis Empire. You guys are morons. You know, to paraphrase. But I don't think that's a baseless observation. that bit there. Continue filling in the flurbles. We got more flora flurbles we gotta do. Luda, let's go. God, Jazz is sending pop the bottom because we got another hit. Hit. You want to go platinum on who you get. Ludicrous, coming back, strict. Ugh, man. Ludicrous, coming back. Fast track. Super slick. Spinning on. Stainless steel. Care less about the genius. Make your album platinum. Steady as stainless steel. Something like that. And I keep the meanest, beanest, baddest, raddest ride that's spinning on stainless wheels. I'm still learning it. It's Sierra's O with Ludacris. I like Ludacris's rap. In the middle of it is his cameo appearance for a few licks. I'm not such a big Sierra fan, but I'm a Ludacris fan. It's still raining here. Man, it has not stopped raining for 2 days here in Seattle. It's a light rain, so we're not flooding or nothing. And it's been in the 40s and 50s since the cold snap last Tuesday. So everything's really just curved out very nicely here. Very, very gentle weather again. Very happy with it. Not very Christmassy, but we're not used to getting white Christmases around here. It kind of screws our driving up a lot. Just trying to get the right amount of fuzziness, you know. I was talking about not wanting to floof the trees too much. It just doesn't look real. Something just shifted. There was a something shifted. I don't know what just happened, but something moved. It could be something local on my side. It's hard to tell sometimes, but I felt just a notable shift in energy just now. I don't know if any of y'all picked up on that or not. And that could just be me moving through another gate, but who knows? I felt it though. Nice. God, this is going to look so good. Takes a while to get it built, but it is going to be pretty when it is done. Hey, guy. What are we looking at on time? All right, we got enough. We got 20 minutes left on the block. We can do that. And then, yeah, I'll be done streaming for the day in 20 minutes for sure. But I'll just be getting. I'll continue working off stream. It's just I don't do every moment of this book on stream for you guys. It's maybe if I had a Kickstarter that was paying me $200,000, maybe then I would do every single second of it on stream. I don't know. I don't want to promise that though. Again, you got to keep resolution in mind. Like how small, like this is a 500-foot square, so how big are these trees going to be inside of a 500-foot square? The answer is potentially pretty damn big. Like even having like a little clearing space here, like with a specific tree here, like even that might make sense. Like that's probably the proper resolution at 500. It's actually really good that we're doing this right now because this is really helping us help lock down how much like how resolution we're going to do for like the force maps for the village and the Eberron adventure that we're also doing map work for. I can do fun things like break along these lines. Ugh, too piratey. You gotta get rid of that song. It's just, it's too, it's, ugh. It's too Caribbean light. This song's much better. What was that flicker? Okay, I'm gonna press save because I don't like the look of that. I don't like the look of that at all. Let's try this a different way. Something like this. And something like this. Something like this. Something like this. That. The other lumpkins. Like that. Actually, this would probably be Baron. I bet once it gets down to this point, it's not supporting trees anymore. Makes sense, right? Do this like that. Squiggle this around. That. Squiggle around like this. I was getting bored of doing this close little detail work. I thought I'd pan out a bit and I might drop the opacity on this a little bit more. Just make things a little bit more interesting for me to rough in for now and get serious about detailing a little bit more intensely later. That. I like this. The stacking. I think that's pretty cool. Like, you can only make the brush dance so much. She's got to take a break after every now and again. You know, get some water, have some crackers, get back in the cage. I am about out of dance tokens for now, so I'm going to be dropping off here probably in a few minutes. Yeah, we got 7 minutes left. So I'm just going to continue push these little pixels around to make this shrubbery until the alarm hits, and I'll drop off, and then we'll be back tomorrow. So, what is it? It's almost 3 o'clock here, so 15 hours from now, we'll be back on, continuing with the cemetery map for Eberron that we worked on this morning. And then we'll take our lunch break like we did today, and then we'll come back on and do like maybe like a 3-hour stream, kind of like we did this afternoon. But again, I don't know what we're going to talk about specifically. We're going to work on something. And it's not like I don't have 2 100-page supplements that I'm working on right now or anything, right? Jeez. And rains it pours, man. All sunlight and no rain makes a desert, or so the Arabs say. Black Hole's got just some of the best quips. If you don't know, Disney's The Black Hole from like 1979, maybe it was I think it was 79. I love that. It is just such a smart, snappy dialogue. Just people snarking at each other. It's fun. these take for frickin' ever. I'm used to doing a much like a much larger area, so there could be a lot more little fluffinillas like that. Like it's just they have to be more spread out at this scale. It's an interesting challenge. Like that is too fine. Needs to be coarser. That's pretty good. Just about out of time, folks. Gonna burn out probably in a minute. So we're gonna go ahead and just stop here and bask at the wonder that we have produced. I am so far so pleased. This will all be greened in once we get the colors going, and we'll do some of the shading and the topography that we're used to doing. Nice. All right, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and got 6 seconds left on the block, so this is our cut. We're going to go ahead and save this for. Thank you. So we got the top that we did, and now we've got the bottom that we're doing, so that you can go on either side of this thing. We'll eventually have to come back and build dungeons going up into these hills and down in these crevices and stuff to have our freedom force that's been working, but whatever, we'll get to that. You get the side scroll look. All right, we're going to go ahead and cut it for now, guys. I'm going to be back. Like I said, I'll be back in 15 hours. I'll be back online. We'll be working on the Eberron map in the morning. We'll put in 3 hours on stream. And then we'll come back on in the afternoon, like at noon tomorrow, perhaps. Like, so we'll go to like 6 till 9, and then like noon till 4. And those will be our 2, 3, 4 hour blocks that we'll do. And I don't know, we'll probably do tokens or something tomorrow afternoon. We'll figure it out. Anyway, I'm out of here, guys. Thanks a lot for playing, and looking forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Like, subscribe, check out my books, blah blah blah. Ozzy, man, good times, dude. You have a great night. Cheers.